Hi, I'm Anya. Recently, I have started my YouTube channel. The very first video I've uploaded there was just me cleaning the house. I'm the kind of person who loves cleanliness, but doesn't really like the process of doing that. Yeah, so it's kind of for me. And what happens most of the time, I get so angry. I started reminiscing, I started recalling some people, some situations that happened to me. Most of the time, it's just me going through the situation all over and over again and just getting angrier and angrier because currently I'm doing something I'm obviously not enjoying. That's what happened to me when I was making the clean with me video. However, I had an epiphany. You're cleaning, time to get philosophical. I was thinking, most people are taught that you have to take care of the place you live at. But what we are not taught, and I find it way more important than just like cleanliness that surrounds us, is cleanliness within. Is cleanliness within. Our mental hygiene, our emotional hygiene. Maybe it's my experience because I'm Ukrainian and I was brought up by Soviet parents. I know for a fact that emotional well-being was not a thing that people were taught there. And obviously my parents didn't know that as well, and I had to learn that myself. I've turned 30 this year. I've been reminiscing about the previous decade of my life because 20s, they're kind of very intense. There are so many experiences we're getting. My 20s, that was pretty, wow. I don't want to say horrible because I'm trying to be grateful for the experience I got, but let's just say I didn't have the tools most of the time to face some things that were happening to me. Now I do. I'm not saying I'm very proficient at those tools. I just know that they do exist and I'm trying to use them most of the time. Let's talk about my 5 tips of emotional hygiene that help me feel better every day. I tried to rate those tips from the easiest to do to the most complex, but I feel like they all require some effort most of the time. Point number 1, take out the garbage. I know that it's not uncommon for many of us to start our day with grabbing the phone and starting to scroll through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook maybe. And I used to be like that as well, and I'm still like that sometimes. Looking back then, I realized how much of a information attack it used to be on my intact morning brain. There is so much garbage out there. And by garbage, I mean something we can totally live without, but we still kind of make a choice to live with. I've deleted my TikTok some time ago. I'm not saying I will never use it again because like never say never, okay? I haven't been using Instagram for more than a year and it was fine. I eventually came back because, you know, sometimes it feels like I live under the rock, but like my behavior with social media, with information in general has changed so much over the year. I'm trying to always have this question in my mind. Do I need this information? Can I live without this information? Is it a garbage I just need to throw out? This is something that doesn't require that much effort, really. Moreover, it frees so much time. It frees so much space in your brain, and emotionally, you feel like a different person indeed. Point number 2, don't let the dirt in. Coming up with the analogy with house cleaning, I've noticed that if I try to maintain cleanliness and order, it's much easier to clean. It takes much less time to clean. When you stop starting your day with scrolling through stuff you don't really need in your life, it's much easier to set those boundaries and just say, no, you know what? I feel so much cleaner. I feel so much better. When we speak of setting boundaries, we usually think about people, which is so valid, but we never think about our boundaries with information and social media. And that is what I really appreciate this book about. It's called Set Boundaries, Find Peace. In the workbook, there was an exercise I really appreciated. And there was a mentioning about the fact that you have to set your boundaries with social media as well. And I was like, wow, you can really do that. Totally recommend. Point number 3, investing in good cleaning supplies. I feel like nowadays there's just so much information, there are so many tips you can get for free. You can invest either your time or money or both. I've been doing like both over the years, and all methods are helpful here. Self-help books, journaling, therapist. I feel like it's a way more difficult to get a therapist, not only because it requires money to invest, but also because sometimes it takes several attempts to find your person. I think like the first therapist I tried to see was when I was 19 years old. It didn't work out. Over the years, I had seen over 10 years, I had 5 therapists. Never has it been anything long-lasting. I have 2 friends who have been seeing their therapists regularly every week for more than 2 years already. It works for them. For me, maybe it's just the therapist I've been seeing. Maybe it's me. I prefer to see a therapist only when I have some problem I cannot tackle myself. With all those therapists I've been seeing before, with some of them it just didn't work out because there was no match. The last 2 therapists, they helped me with some specific issues I was facing. It's very important to give yourself a chance not to match with a person if it doesn't work out. Point number 4 is unclog the drain. We're getting up the complexity level in terms of cleaning. Looking back into the process of my improvement of emotional well-being, it's never been like that. It's not like I was getting better every time. No, like it never worked like that, at least for me. It's kind of like that most of the time. If you check the trend from the starting point till now, overall, it's much better. I'm getting there. I feel much better. I can say no to stuff much better. I feel like that's what it is with unclogging the drain and getting the shit out. Sometimes shit is gonna stay there for some time before you completely unclog it. And in terms of emotional well-being, I feel like no matter how well you clean the house, if there's still a crack in the foundation, doesn't matter how clean your house is, you have to take care of your emotional shit. All that drama. You owe it to yourself. We all do. Point number 5, I actually wanted to call it Bury the Body, but decided not to. It's called spring cleaning, and for me, and I'm sure that for most people, this is just the most complex one. This is about being able to set boundaries with people. As long as something concerns me, I can relatively easily address that. But like when it's about interacting with other people, especially when you were raised as a people pleaser, it's kind of When we speak of boundaries, the first thing that comes to mind is that you have to tell people if you're uncomfortable with something. But I feel like your boundary starts in your head when you're home planning to see someone. Every time I have an option to interact with someone, I now have this question in my mind. Why do I need to see this person? Do I like to talk to that person? Do I want to give this person my time? I've stopped to fill my life with people, just not to stay with myself. This is like the big achievement for me, mostly because in my 20s, I had this party period, but eventually I can say for a fact that I had a massive void in my soul. Oh, why am I laughing? It's not funny. Partying is not that bad, especially in your 20s. Looking back then, there were just so many people I shouldn't be hanging out with. This is kind of disrespectful to myself back then, because there was so many more things I could have focused on in my life, but I've been avoiding that for as long as I could. As a result of all these tips I've been progressively implementing in my life, I'm proud to say that in my 30s, I learned to appreciate silence. This is so life-changing. As a kid, I used to come home from school and turn on TV to create some noise, not to feel all alone at home. But now, I appreciate it so much. I appreciate an opportunity to stay silent, to listen to my own thoughts, because there's been so much mess in my head, and that's why I've been avoiding my own thoughts. Now I'm not doing that anymore, and I'm so proud with myself for reaching that state. This is it. Please let me know what you think about that. If you have your own tips, I'm so eager to learn about that. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. I will go and enjoy the silence now. I will.